What's up, everybody? Big Herc getting down with Fresh Out, and you tuned into another episode of Life Lessons. You know, you guys always ask us about stuff inside prison. Well, it's time to start talking about things after prison, and that's what Life Lessons is all about. So I hope you subscribe to the channel because you don't want to miss out on this new series. One of the things I want to talk about was how to find the right woman after prison. And it could be a challenging task, especially if you haven't had any female contact during the time you were down. You know, you got to try to reestablish just that bond, that intimacy, that communication, and in prison, it's kind of an unnatural environment per se because you can't really talk to the female guards or female staff members without risk of getting caught up. So you have to be very professional and very removed as far as just how communicate with them. And so, getting out of prison, to be honest, the easiest way I think as far as to at least get your feet out the dirt is to sign up with one of the dating sites and man, just have at it. Don't try to get all emotional and caught up in a relationship and all that stuff, man. Just enjoy yourself. There's going to be plenty of time for you to settle down the road once you realize that, hey, you got it out your system. But in order to kind of get your rhythm, it's a good idea to just hop on a couple different dating sites, practice your communication, your intimacy, get your game back tight, that way you don't feel like you're second guessing yourself. And then when you're ready, you kind of can step out your shell and, put more energy into the right woman who can bring those qualities to the table that could be potential wifey qualities. Some of the things that you got to look out for when you first get out is you're giving these women some loving that they probably ain't never had because you got all that pent up testosterone, and women can have a tendency to get sprung and want to control your Johnson. So be careful what you say to them and how you direct your emotions, because if they think that somehow they own you, then they will do whatever it takes sometimes to make sure nobody else gets a piece of that. I've heard of situations where guys get caught up. The female says, hey, I'll get you violated, send you back to jail and nobody can have you. Or, if I catch you cheating, I'm going to tell your PO that you did this or did that. So you got to be real careful, man. You got to be careful because, women can be very vindictive. And as a result, you could compromise your freedom. And you don't want to do that. You don't want some female calling your probation or parole officer and getting you caught up over nothing when you're just trying to get on your feet. So, don't expose that side of your private life right off the back unless it's somebody you think you're going to really, be involved with. It's best to kind of like lay that out later on down the line. But if you're just doing booty calls and Netflix and chill, hey man, there's no need for you to get into your past history. But as far as finding the right woman, you want to have your checklist in order. And your checklist will consist of certain things you look for as far as long term, as far as goals, as far as career choices that you can kind of put out there and see if that woman is also behind those same bullet points. And if she supports what you have down as far as your goals and ambitions, then she might be somebody to consider, opening up that Pandora's box for. Somebody that you might want to share some more personal, personal intimacies and just, really make that connection. But you got to test them, man. You got to test them. You got to throw certain things out there, third person, and see how they respond to it. You know, for example, I got a homeboy, you know, he did like, 10 years and he got out and, he tried to start his own business, but his girl was tripping and, he wanted to basically become a millionaire and do this and that. But his girl said he was, thinking in the clouds, and, it was crazy, man. This is a good friend of mine. I thought he was really ambitious. And see how she responds. If she is in agreement with what you're saying and feels that the woman that was in question was, not supportive, then if that was you, she would have your back. But if she says like, you know what, for him to get out thinking he can do all that stuff, he had to be, out of pocket, and he didn't really have a grip on reality. The reality is he should have just got a 9-to-5 and been happy and blah, 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 blah. She's not about it. That's not somebody you want to really shack up with if she's questioning this guy, which is really you, but you're saying it third person. It's like I said, it's a lot of challenges out there. You got to realize that people are going to dig up stuff on you. They're going to Google you. So if you have a woman that you're kind of having feelings for and you haven't told her about your past, but best believe that her friends are going to dig up some information and try to throw dirt in the mix as far as things that you've done or your character. Her family members are going to be testing you. It's going to be a lot of things, man. If she has a kid, you got to be ready to, open up that aspect as far as, are you ready to be a stepfather? So there's a lot of things you got to consider. And before you decide to really settle down, take into consideration a lot of the things that you want to get out of your system before you settle down, because you don't want to make the mistake of tying a knot and then realizing that it was a mistake. And now you got to try to reverse that, and it leads to all kind of drama. That's the last thing you need in your life. And believe me, it could be headaches. It could be headaches. I've seen people, that were involved in relationships, and a guy helping have a baby outside the relationship. The female started tripping, and she was jealous of the kid, and he never, he didn't have a chance to have any kids before he went in, so he wanted a child, but he wasn't really with the baby's mama. And it was just a bunch of nonsense going on. So, you don't want to make choices that you'll regret later on. And as far as finding that right woman, just like I said, have that checklist together, man, and make sure you question everything, and always, look at things from a perspective where you're not fooling yourself into believing that this is the one. Because like I said, there's a billion women in the world. Don't make the mistake and have yourself, looking at a situation you can't walk away from because you made a dumb choice. Big Herc, fresh out life lessons.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.